Joining us right now is Sarah Quinlan. She's the chief economist over at Consello. And Sarah, when I looked at this report this morning, the first thing that jumps out at you, of course, is the headline sentiment number dropping to the lowest that we've seen in quite some time. But a lot of people are really focused more on those inflation expectations longer term, which are starting to rise at a time when we thought the Fed maybe had inflation and, more importantly, inflation expectations anchored.
Well, I think there's two ways to think about this. I actually don't really care for surveys as much as I care for actual behavior. And we still see the consumer spending, but the consumer is spending like she did between 2016 and 2019, which is on services rather than on goods. So we've seen that shift, but of course we know that services cost more these days because of the tightness in the labor market. So I think that's where the persistent inflation is, but I don't think it's really translating to a crisis where I think people took the markets today. I think it's a better number than actually is coming out because of the actual spending that is continuing.
Well, that gets us to the whole discussion here about the Fed's mission, whether it's close to the end of that mission and whether that landing is going to end up being hard or, as our previous guest said, Christina Hooper, bumpy, or, of course, the third option is that soft landing that I think we're all still hoping for.
I'm still in the soft landing camp, but here's the dilemma. The problem is we just do not have enough people available to work for the jobs available. Even, that we've seen the JOLTS number coming down, but the reality is there's still 1.4 jobs for every person looking. And when we look at demographics in the United States, we've had 0.8 children per household, and we need 1.2. Now, I don't know how you do 0.8 or 0.2 children, but nonetheless, we are still below the replacement rate for all the baby boomers that are retiring.
Yeah, well, we love all 2.8 of our children equally, Sarah. In all seriousness, when we talk about what we're seeing in the labor market, obviously we focus on JOLTS a lot in a way that we probably never did in the past economic cycles because everyone wants to see, okay, how many jobs are out there, open positions are out there, I should say. You overlay that, of course, with what we're actually seeing in the official monthly data, particularly with the unemployment numbers, figures themselves here. How does that ratio stack up right now? I mean, what is it telling us?
Well, I think what it's really telling us is that we have still got an extremely tight labor market and not enough people entering. And more importantly, though, I think that the people, when you look at the layoffs, these are people who can find another job. I call it sort of a white collar layoff period. And these people also have savings and they have severance. So those two things are allowing a prolonging and I would say leading to this softer landing. But I think the Fed still is going to have to raise another time. They're not going to achieve that 2% with this type of labor, conundrum that's going to be sitting in the marketplace, because that's not, you're going to have to really sort of jolt the economy into slowing down because people still need to hire.
Yeah, but I'm just going to play devil's advocate for a second, Sarah, because there are some people that will say that they already did that jolt. That jolt is there. And we talk about these sort of long and variable lagged effects of what the Fed does. Is there a case to be made, not so much for a pivot or even a pause, but really just let's step back and just see kind of what we've wrought and whether that might be enough? Is there not a case where they can go into that June meeting and just say, let's just take this meeting off, not do anything and see what happens?
Well, I think they should do that. But in reality, I think the challenge that they see is there's still so much liquidity in the marketplace. If you look at all the private non-regulated lenders that are out there, that private capital, that is a huge stash that is available for small business to still continue to fund themselves, even if the smaller regionals are not quite in the marketplace right now. So I think this is the conundrum again for them, where they're sitting there saying, okay, if we pause and we're watching some of the data, the small, regional banking crisis, et cetera, maybe we'll see things slow down. But the question is, are they comfortable with the slowdown? I think they should be, because the rest of the world is still facing some of the same challenges. And I also think because of the slowdown in China and the unevenness of the recovery post their COVID reopening, I think that that's also having a nice effect on helping lower inflation, which will get them closer to the 2% target. They should pause, but, given that they've been so focused on achieving 2%, I think that's going to be their challenge.
Sarah, great insights here. Great to talk to you, and hopefully we can talk again. Sarah Quinlan there.
Look forward to it. Thank you again.
Absolutely. She's the chief economist over at Consello. As we keep the program going here, a focus up ahead here on some of the individual stocks that have been moving this week.